My name's Guy Kestevan, and for nearly 25 years I've been a professional bike and kit tester, but I have never in all that time pulled as much new out of one set of boxes as I have with this new delivery from SRAM. So first up, the bike here is the latest version of one of my all-time favourite bikes that I had as a long-term tester, Santa Cruz's Stigmata CC. So it's not a new bike, but it's one I've been super keen to get on ever since it came out. But also, you have new SRAM Force wide axis wireless group set with the double chainring on it. You have new Zipp 303S affordable wide multi-purpose wheels. You have the new Zipp Tangente Course G40 tubeless gravel tyres. You have the new Zipp service course componentry in silver. You've got all sorts of little details like the multi-click on here, and you've got the new brake rotors on here as well. There is so much to talk about on this bike. And then in front, I've got a pair of the new Zipp 303 Firecrest wheels, where there's even more to talk about. So, well, this could take a while just to go through all the tech on this before I even get out and start riding it and testing it. So, get yourselves a brew and settle in for an extended tech talk around once I get this bike fully unwrapped and into the work stand. So let's start with the host bike, Santa Cruz Stigmata CC. CC is their top level carbon, and the Stig only comes in that layup. Speaking of the layup, it owes a lot to the Highball, their cross-country hardtail, which came out with a much more compliant layup than the original Highball. And this, again, is a much smoother, sort of more compliant bike than the original Stigmata, which was a proper stiff race bike. I mean, I loved it, but this is designed to be, you know, just as quick, but a lot more forgiving in terms of how it translates that ground feel to you. So you've got these drop seat stays, 27.2mm seat post, and then taper fork on the front. But it's mostly hidden stuff that you can't see. They've not only used layup from the Highball, they've also learnt quite a few lessons from building Danny McCaskill's trials bike. So there's a lot of interesting fibre tech going on inside here. Angles are relatively aggressive still. I mean, it is still classed as a cyclocross or gravel bike, so it hasn't gone all slacked out and soft by any means. So you've still got a 71.5 degree head angle and a 74 degree seat angle, so that's going to equate to some pretty keen handling. Top tube reach is relatively conventional as well, and you're running standard length stem. You know, it's not super stretched and super short like some bikes are getting more radical on the drop bar bikes. It's still pretty much a classic bike, but with a very modern composite layup. In terms of features, you've got two bottle cages there. You've got another one under the belly. You can fit mudguards to it now, and you can even bolt on a little stay across there for rear mudguards as well. And then you've got the little attachment down there. It's clearance for up to 45mm tyres. These are 40s in here, and you can see there's plenty of space there behind this drop chainstay. Really big chunky chain armour there, so you know that's gonna help keep things quiet, even though you've obviously got a clutch mech on here. Sorry, don't call it a clutch mech on Force, call it a damper mech, because that's an orbit damper, not a clutch like the mountain bike stuff. And if we move over to the far side there, you can see it's a standard screw-in bottom bracket, so that'll keep the mileage fiends happy. You've got internal cable routing, which obviously can be changed if you're running wireless. As you can see, this is a blanked off port here, so nice and weatherproof, considering this bike's running Axis. I've not ridden it yet, obviously, you know, this bike's just got to me, so super keen to see how that does compare to my original Stig, which I had for a couple of years, and I was absolutely gutted to give back, but I just wasn't being able to give it the coverage I needed on the magazine. It was meant to be a long-termer for Cycling Plus, and never really got much space in there, so I reluctantly said, look, you know, to be fair, you need this bike back, and regretted confessing that for months and months after it. I love that bike. But anyway, so that's the host bike, Santa Cruz Stigmata. Now let's move on to componentry. So this is a SRAM test bike, and the first part of the SRAM story we're seeing here is the SRAM Force Wide Range Axis group set. Primarily, the big thing of interest is you've now got a double chain set up front. Previously on the kind of the gravel Force, you only had single chain ring. So you've not only got a double chainring, which is a 4330, you've also got a dedicated front mech. And the big difference with the wide range is that the axle on the crank is 5mm wider, so it comes out 2.5mm either side, and the bottom bracket is spaced accordingly. That just gives them more clearance on tyres. I mean, these are 40s on here, but the system is actually happy to run up to a 50mm tyre on there. It is, like I say, it is a dedicated front mech. It sits 2.5mm further out than the standard front mech, and the chainset only comes in 4330. I mean, you can team it with a 4633 from the standard X range, but that obviously, the big win here for gravel riders is you're getting a really low set of ratios. So you've got this double chainset at the front, and then moving to the rear, you've got this new 1036 rear cassette. X range was previously 1033 at the widest. Now there's this new 1036. Still get first four cogs are just one tooth apart, so really, really smooth at the lower end of the block, and then a wider spread as you get towards the top end. 12 speed, obviously, just as a note, it's not Eagle compatible because this rear mech actually runs a different kind of parallelogram path to X Horizon that you get on Eagle. So although this is compatible with SRAM Red and SRAM Force setups in 12-speed ecosystem already, I mean, SRAM are very keen to reinforce it's not a new group set, it's just part of the SRAM Force ecosystem. All of that is compatible. You can't run it with Eagle. And to make it compatible with this new rear cassette, you've got this new Max rear mech, and you know, it's got that classic larger rollers on the chain, larger jockey wheels, all the usual kind of SRAM friction reducing stuff. Cosmetically, there's some differences as well. You've got gloss out cages, you've got some gloss finish on the front mech, gloss finish on the crank, just to kind of, you know, bring it up slightly in the mix in terms of how posh it, but basically how posh it looks. So it is a really, really good looking group set now. And then in terms of the actual ratios you're running now, 4330 on the front, like I say, and then 1036 on the back. So that gives you a 516% gear range. So previously, SRAM axis topped out at 500% if you went for the Eagle option, or 460% if you went for the standard X range option. This gives you 516% in this setup, or you can run it with the 1033, which gives you 473%. And because the spiders are interchangeable, you can actually run that 4633 off X-Range road group sets, and that gets you a 502% gear range. So actual overall range isn't massively different to Eagle, but obviously with, you know, 24 different ratios in that block rather than 12, you're getting a much closer spaced gear wrap and much smaller jumps between each gear all the way through. And one of the big reasons that SRAM have come back with a double chain set is because Shimano's GRX group set came out, and that's proved pretty popular, having that lower ratio front chain rings on there. But SRAM have actually gone for a tighter grouping. Shimano is either 4831 or 4630. This is 4330. So there's less of a gap between the chain rings, and they've moved the kind of wide range part of the system to the rear end. And in terms of the sort of detail tech, you've got this orbit damper still on the rear mech, so that's a hydraulic damper that stops the chains slapping about, so that keeps it nice and secure for rougher terrain. You've got AXS system, so it's fully wireless protocol, batteries on the back of front and rear mech, and then that's controlled from the shifters up here. Again, different look on the lever colour finish there, but otherwise pretty much the same hoods. But this new feature is multi-click, so that's a little it's basically an update of the blip button system, but as you can see, it actually sits on a little plate underneath the tape there, and it's just a bit more proud of the normal bars, so it's a little easier to find when you're sitting on the hoods. I mean, obviously you're going to be using it like that there, and you can put that wherever you want on the bike, and it just, you know, wirelessly integrates with the rest of the bike. Just going back up to the bars, it's got a Garmin mount here, and obviously this system is completely compatible with the new SRAM AXS Web app, which gives you a whole load of functionality now in terms of sort of tracking your shifts, tracking your mileage, all sorts of data. Bike will send to your Garmin, and then you can push it out to an app for sort of downloading and digesting after your rides. And then just bringing the bike around, just to have a look here, you've got this new Paceline, all single piece rotor. It's just got a bicolor finish on it, so you've got those darker sections in there, which kind of mimics the look of the two-piece top-end SRAM rotors, but it's just a little bit more affordable. Obviously a little bit heavier, but it comes in centre lock or 6-bolt and 160 or 140 mil. And next section of new on this bike, like I say, this is probably loaded with more new than I've ever had before in a single bike, it's not a massive deal in terms of construction, but Zipp have now introduced silver versions of their service course alloy stem bar and seat post setup. And this is the 70 Explorer bar, so you can see nice compact broad bar with a little bit of flare on the outside there. So that's deliberately designed as their gravel bar, but they do all their normal bar sizes as well, bar shapes as well, and all the standard stem lengths and standard seat post diameters. And as you can see, this is the first outing for this new Zipp logo on the road. It's introduced actually on the 3.0 Moto mountain bike wheels, but now you can see it's on the tyre. Actually, that's the old logo on the tyres, but on these new 303S wheels, that's the new Zipp logo there. And these 303s really are big news, because at £985 for the pair, they are dropping down into uncharted territory in terms of pricing for Zipp carbon wheels. They're actually not much more expensive than when Zipp used to do alloy wheels. And it's not just kind of dumbing down of their top end tech. They've actually introduced some new features. They're 45mm deep, which is the same as the previous 302, and the 76 176 hub combo is the same as the previous 302. But these wheels are significantly lighter. They're at 1540 grams. They're actually 115 grams lighter than the 303 Firecrest, which is the kind of premium 303 wheel before. And the only real difference you'll notice externally is they've got this smooth finish rather than a dimpled finish on the outside. That's kind of the only obvious kind of cost saving on these wheels, and they've got a baked graphic on there. But they're the same depth, but what you're getting now is a 27mm outside diameter and then a 23mm rim bed. So they're a lot wider than the previous 302, which means that they can support a much wider tyre at low pressures. Minimum tyre is now a 28, but they'll take up to a 50. So they're good for gravel or road racing, whatever you want to use them on, as long as you're happy going with a large volume tyre. This is a really, really good setup for them. Again, it's a hookless bead, so not every tyre is compatible with them. Continental at the moment don't want you to use their tubeless tyres with hookless rims, which is a shame because I really rate those tyres, but obviously Zipp do their own tyres to fit on. And despite the fact that they're lighter and they're cheaper, they're covered by a full kind of lifetime no quibble warranty. Basically, if you're riding the bike and they collapse, they've got your back. If you run them over or run into a car park or something with them on the roof of your car, then that's your luck out. But if it's damage sustained while you're riding the bike, Zipp have got your back. And talking of tough new Zipp products, let's have a look at the Tangente Course G40 tubeless gravel tyres that are mounted on here. Again, brand new to the Zipp range within the last couple of months. They've had road tyres for a while, and as you can see, sort of semi-slick, quite a chunky tread on top with this little chevron, then mixed tread on the shoulder, then right down on the edge you've got a bit more edging grip. So fast rolling in terms of tread, but in terms of compound, it's actually a 55-50, so quite a tacky compound. So it'll be interesting to see how these perform now it's been raining and getting a bit slippery out there recently. 40mm is the only size they come in currently in terms of width, but you've got a full aramid, basically Kevlar bead-to-bead puncture breaker in there. So they should be a really good, tough, kind of durable tyre. That's definitely how Zipp are selling them, is, a tyre that you don't really need to worry about if you're battering over rocks. Despite the fact at 465 grams, they're actually relatively light for a gravel tyre this size. They're certainly lighter than the Panarace, Schwalbe and Pirelli tyre options I've been trying recently, just a little bit heavier than the Contis. So that's all the tech installed on this bike. I'm going to get up early and go for a bit of a dawn raid on it, but I'm not going to go through the 303 Firecrest wheels just yet because there's a lot more tech to talk about with them. And frankly, it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, and you'll probably have noticed there's been a lot of stops and starts in this video as I've started to kind of run out of steam. So, thanks very much for listening to me chatting about all this brand new SRAM kit that's loaded onto this Stigmata. Like I say, I'll do a separate video on the new 303 Firecrests, which I'll be running with Zipp 28mm tyres in kind of a road setup. I might switch the tyres across to gravel as well, just to, see how this, the 303S compare with the 303 Firecrest, which again, they're significantly cheaper than they were, and they're even lighter. So they're like a 1,335 gram wheel set now, I think, and even wider, even lighter, and claiming even more kind of drag and comfort benefits, even over these wheels. So a lot more still to talk about, and obviously I need to get out and start doing some live ride review coverage on all the bits on this bike. But for now, thank you very much for watching. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe, click for notifications so you don't miss the upcoming videos. Thank you, as always, to my Patreon supporters who are, names are scrolling up now, who give me a monthly donation. Just a very small, it's like literally it's $3 a month for the basic level of subscription. And that gives you early, extended and behind the scenes edits as an exclusive access bonus. But for now, thank you very much to SRAM for sending me this fully loaded test bike and the additional wheel sets. Really looking forward to working my way through those. I've been Guy Kestevan on Guy Kes TV, talking about this Santa Cruz Stigmata CC, loaded with SRAM Force AXS Wide Range, Zipp 303S wheels, Zipp Tangente Course gravel tyres, and the new Zipp Service Course silver componentry.